From the very get-go, Bocchi The Rock is a personal dive into Hitori Gotoh's struggles with anxiety and of the like. Can see this distinctively clear in how distant she was from her classmates, and then for her to just live in a box. To many of us, it's really not that deep. But to me, I felt the need to mention how the box in practicality represented her outlook on society, and the plot conveniently incorporates that point into the story's nuances very neatly. I cannot lie, it was a bit far-fetched when I first watched that scene, of her constantly shelving herself into this lonely ghetto-looking box. I thought, isn't this just a bit too over the top in trying to show how she's a shut-in, hikikomori or something? But I soon realized that I was just obtuse after I watched more and more of Bocchi, of what the box really entailed. It wasn't just a simple, straightforward, and exaggerated way of saying, hey, I can't look into people's eyes for long periods of time, but it was more of her reclusive nature to not even establish eye contact. The box showcased her fear to the outside world and encapsulated her very own fantasy, her escapism. This is the place where she dreamed of becoming a rock star. This is the place where she seemed to put all her problems aside or throw them away by feeding her anguish towards playing guitar and becoming obsessed with it, all in her solitude. So finally she gets into a band, but something still didn't feel quite right just yet. She was still dreaming, still thinking of becoming one worthy enough to perform on stage. In front of a crowd of millions, she keeps on thinking and wandering, only to soon wake up from her whims. To be put back into walking alone through the school hallway, never to be noticed, never to be approached by, and never seen conversing with anyone but her imaginary friends, with her only comfort being her guitar. Notwithstanding, that's what we all take at face value. The story itself actually revolves around heartwarming, cute, and fun interactions between Bocchi and the band one-upping themselves. In times such as these, sometimes, well, most times, Bocchi just looks like she cannot grasp that she's talking with another human. Like, all of a sudden, she suddenly realized that she existed, that she's indeed alive, and that she's amounting to something in life. It was a small reverse she took to take in the fact that she can break free from her crippling loneliness. While watching the first few episodes of Bocchi, I also thought, man, she's just like me for real, but that soon began to dwindle as she showed more and more of her descent towards insanity. It started becoming way too exaggerated for me to say it's within the realm of relatability unless you have actual crippling anxiety or something. But that did not matter. Bocchi is Bocchi. After realizing this, I just started blaming myself for thinking she's supposed to be a self-insert character with anxiety issues. She's not made to conform to any tropes or ideologies. She was just showing her appeal and personality as a character, and that elaborate interweave character writing only made me think, never mind, she's like me for real, but not on 100% scale. Because she's still her own person, one who's got her own original and personal story. We've seen this kind of approach towards self-improvement, whether it be overcoming anxiety and loneliness or becoming brave in all sorts of media throughout our lifetime. So, what makes Bocchi The Rock any different? Because it only served as a starting foundation to her character. In the first episode, we were introduced to her ways of recluse, and we were blatantly stabbed with statements like, only internet people can understand me, or I don't need IRL people. showing relatability to many right off the bat. If that didn't click with you, she elaborated with her sadness of wanting to achieve something, of wanting to perform at a cultural festival but never did because she wasn't brave enough to do so. She was socially inept. She wanted to be with others and have more social interactions, rather than choosing to be alone. And hell, if that also wasn't enough, we see her trying hard to stand out, as far as going to school with her guitar, wearing merch of her favorite music artists or bands, and requesting for rock music during lunchtime. Although it was all in vain, literally for nothing, she tried her best to be noticed, to be approached by. We've all been there, and it hurts seeing that. That was her character introduction. But the moment she met Nijika, everything changed. She constantly had others backing her up in her journey to become better, regardless of it being just a step at a time, one step at a time. She felt like she was burdening others by making them help her. She felt like she was wasting their time by making them help her. She felt like she didn't deserve any affection or help from them. She thought that she wasn't enough. But yet, she still delivered. She didn't want to give up. She didn't want to make their efforts all go down the drain. She didn't want their happy times as a band to end. So she adapted, improved, and rocked the hell out of it. She began steering in a direction different from what we've seen, implying a unique approach towards this sort of self-improvement sort of thing. The way she deals with not wanting to work, so she tried to catch a cold, only to later regret it, or the way she reacts to new experiences she's never had before, like over celebrating Kita and Nijika coming over to their house, was all unique, fresh, and invigorating. Yet it felt so real and natural. She did some things that we think were over the top, but that's only because we've done so. What about under the perspective of someone who's never done something like that? Like, for example, having a friend come over. What about that? Wouldn't they be as excited as Bocchi is? We see not only her quest in going through these personal struggles and dilemmas, but her actions and reactions towards being more open to the world. We're not seeing us, an insecure weeb or whatnot, being all sad. We're seeing Bocchi's awkwardness getting out of hand. Down to her very core and nitty-gritty, she's just her being her own self. Some might think that I'm thinking way too deeply into this, and that Bocchi isn't even that dark. And while I agree, the lessons and details that I take from this are still very much beneficial for me and you to reflect upon. So I appreciate the author for doing so. Not only did Akihamaji give a light-hearted tone towards telling Bocchi's story, but still made it a funny, enjoyable, and cute wild ride for us all. Bocchi isn't just like us. She paved a way for us. We are and aren't like her. At surface value, she just seems like an inconsistent, anxiety-ridden goofball. But she's actually more than that. She was mostly alone throughout her entire life, and it only took one stroke of luck, one happenstance, for a miracle to happen, and that is Nijika offering her to be their guitarist. That changed everything for Bocchi. It changed Hitori Gotoh's life completely. Don't stop chasing for that chance to improve, to get on and have your life be better, because when that one circumstance happens, when you're in a predicament where something can just completely switch up your life, never be afraid to dash towards that brimming opportunity. I'm sure we've all been like Bocchi, and some of us are still like Bocchi, having no friends, unapproachable, unappreciated, and never noticed. But we can all be like Bocchi. We just have to wait for that chance and never think for a second to back down when it comes, because in the end, Bocchi was just like us.
ここだよ。 の境